We will now look at the next type of control flow constructs. They are called as loops. They are used when the programmer wants to execute some set of code more than once. There are several types of loops available in C. We would look at each of them in the following slides. We would begin with for loops. The typical syntax is given here. There are three types of expressions used in this kind of loop. Expression 1, as shown in the slide, is used as an initialization statement. The expression 1 is executed only once, when we start the execution of the for loop. This expression can be used to initialize the values of the variables that will be used inside the loop. The next one is expression 2. This expression evaluates the condition, based on which the loop will be continued or exited. This expression basically decides when to exit the loop. And the last one is expression 3. This expression is executed at every repeat of the loop. They are basically used to change the values of some control variables, before we repeat the loop. Every time the loop is repeated, the statements within the loop are executed. Let's look at for loop in more detail. In this slide, we would examine how the control flows through various components of the for loop. When the execution of the loop begins, it first executes expression 1. After the execution of expression 1, before entering the for loop body, the condition given in the expression 2 is verified. If the expression 2 is true, only then the body of the for loop will be entered, else the for loop is exited. If expression 2 is true, then the statements within the body of the for loop are executed. After the execution of the for loop body, the control goes to expression 3. Once the expression 3 is executed, the control again goes back to expression 2. Again, only if expression 2 is true, we get into loop body. This cycle keeps repeating until the expression 2 is false. As you noted here, the expression 1 is executed only once, and expression 2 acts as the entry checker. And the expression 3 is executed at every repeat of the loop. We would look at examples to understand them better. We would start off with a very simple example. How would you find the sum of all the numbers between 1 and n? The algorithm to do this would be to add a number to the sum of all the previous numbers until we reach n. Here addition is the repeative step to calculate the final result. Hence, a loop would be needed to implement this. We would implement this using a for loop. Let the variable I represent the numbers between 1 to n, and the variable sum would represent the sum of numbers till I. Since we need the sum from 1, the initial value of variable I would be 1, and the initial value of sum would be 0. To initialize the variable, we would use the initialization expression in the for loop. Since we are using two expressions here, they are separated using the comma operator. The expression 1 is ended with semicolon. Next we need to set the condition that determines when the loop has to be exited. Since we have to find the sum of numbers from 1 to n, when the value of I goes beyond n, we need to exit. Hence, the condition for the loop will be to continue as long as I is less than or equal to n. The statement within the for loop would be to add the value of I to the variable sum. Once the variable I is added, the value of I needs to be incremented to calculate the new sum before we repeat the loop. This increment expression can be used as expression 3. After we exit the loop, the variable sum would have the total of all the numbers from 1 to n. The next type of loop is the while loop. This is a very simple loop. The statements within the while loop body will be executed as long as the expression evaluates to true. When the execution of while loop starts, first, the expression used in it will be evaluated. If it's true, then the statements within the loop body will be executed. After its execution, the expression is again evaluated and statements are again executed if the expression is true. This cycle keeps repeating until the expression becomes false. The next type of loop is the do-while loop. This is also very similar to the while loop that we saw in the previous slide. The only difference is, in do-while loop, first the statement is executed, then the expression is verified, to decide whether to continue or exit the loop. If you observe, the body of do-while loop will be executed at least once. Whereas it's not necessary in while loop, because if the expression is false in the very first iteration, then the body of the while loop will not be executed at all. Now we will look at the break and continue keywords. These keywords can be used to alter the natural flow of control within a loop. These keywords can be used in any type of loops that we saw in the previous slides. As we already know, the control exits the loop when the expression is false. That is one way of exiting the loop. You can exit the loop even using a break keyword. As the name suggests, this keyword will break the loop and control will jump out of the loop. This keyword is sometimes useful if you want to prematurely exit the loop. The next keyword is continue. This keyword can be used to stop the execution of the statements and take the control back to the beginning of the loop, that is, to the expression evaluation. This keyword can be used to skip the rest of the loop body and go back to the beginning for expression evaluation. Please note that in do-while loop, it will go to the end of the loop for expression evaluation. And in for loop, it will go to the expression 3, before going to expression 2 for evaluation. Before concluding this chapter, let's look at an example of how loops can be used. Let's assume that you have to write a program, which will take a word as input and will search it in a list of words. If the word is found, it will print index of the word in the array. I am writing the program in such a way that all the components of the loop can be demonstrated. Hence it may not be the best code for this problem. The algorithm for this problem will be to compare the input word with each entry in the array. If the word is found, then print the index and exit. As you might have already guessed, a loop will be needed to do the repeated compare with each word in the list. Here is the code. The two-dimensional array will have the list of words, in which the input word has to be searched. As you can see in the code, the array has a set of words. The first step would be to get the input from the user using scanf function. Now using the while loop, we will start comparing the input word with each word in the array. To use the continue keyword, I have introduced an if statement inside the while loop. If the first letter of both the words don't match, then we need not go further, as the words won't match anyway, and hence we can restart the loop for next comparison. Before restarting the loop, increment the index I, so that in the next iteration, the next word in the array is compared. I hope now you understand when continue keyword can be useful. Since the first letters didn't match, there is no meaning in further processing the word. So use continue keyword to skip the rest of the loop. In the second if statement, I am comparing both the words using string compare function. If it returns 0, which means the strings matches, then we are done, and there is no need to further continue with loop. So break out of the loop using break keyword. After the loop, we need to verify how did we exit the loop. Was it using break keyword, or because the expression in the loop was false? This verification is needed because only then we can confirm if the loop found the word or not. If the word was found, then the loop would have been terminated using the break statement. Else the loop would have been terminated because of the expression. If the loop was terminated using break keyword, then the expression used in the while statement should still be true. Hence we verify that expression again after the loop. If the expression is still true, that means we exited the loop prematurely using the break keyword. Hence the word was found. So print the message in the index of the word. If the expression is not true, then it means the loop scanned the complete array, but still didn't find the word. So print the appropriate message in the else part. I hope this example helped you understand various aspects of the loops. As an exercise, try to implement the same code using other kind of loops. Thank you. Do visit our website, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for new videos.